Ted Geisel, whose middle name was Seuss, and so he called himself Dr. Seuss as his moniker, his pseudonym. Ted Geisel was my parents' initial editor and publisher with Random House, and he worked very closely with them and was very instrumental in guiding them in how to develop their skills as children's storytellers. He also was the person who gave the characters the name the Berenstain Bears. Nobody was going to call them anything at first. The first book was simply called The Big Honey Hunt by Stanley and Janice Berenstain. The bears had no name, they just were bears. But after they finished that book and it was published, or was about to be published, Geisel was talking to him about what did they want to do next? And they said, well, we really like these bear characters we'd like to do another book about these bears. He said, that's the worst thing you could do. You don't want to get typecast. You wind up doing just one book after another about these same boring bear characters. You'll get so fed up with it. You should try to do something totally different, completely different from bears. So they were pretty disappointed, and because they were expecting to do more books about the bears, but they thought, well, let's take this seriously. So they went home, and my dad had seen an ad somewhere that had a penguin on it. And so he said, how about a penguin? Nobody was doing books about penguins back then. Now they're very popular. And my mom said, yeah, that's a good idea. So they did a book about a penguin, a little penguin at the South Pole. And it was a very cute book. And they brought the sketch version of it months later to Geisel in an editorial meeting. And he looked at it and he said, well, this is a very nice book. It's really cute. I like the penguin. He's a cute little feller. But the first book you did about those bears, it's very successful already. And so we think you should do another book about bears. And so they did. It was called The Bike Lesson. And when it was published, they realized that a little logo had been put on it that said, Another Adventure of the Berenstain Bears. So they went to Ted and they said, why are we calling them the Berenstain Bears? I mean, that's a weird name. It sounds weird. Our name is Berenstain. They're bears. What are the Berenstain Bears? He said, oh, it's great. It's alliterative, the Berenstain Bears. It's like a circus act or a vaudeville troupe. It's like Murgatroyd's mules or Charlie's chimps. They're your bears. They're your circus act. And so that's how the characters got to be called the Berenstain Bears.